So guys, Clarence Lee Jr. here. Just want to share a couple things today. One thing that I've been focusing on here lately, I'm planning to write more about, is this idea of just understanding that we all have weaknesses, and the difference between here's the difference between people that understand their weaknesses and people that try to avoid their weaknesses. So I'm in personal development, right? So I try to help people improve themselves and develop themselves and be a better version of themselves. And one of the one of the critical mindset pieces of being able to do that is a commitment and an understanding that you have to be able to identify your weaknesses, because if you're not able to identify your weaknesses, then you aren't able to identify the areas that you need to work in. And so part of that, one hand of that, is understanding that, hey, I do have weaknesses, number one. Then the second piece of that is I'm dedicated to improving on those weaknesses no matter what. And then the third piece is having enough confidence in yourself to then say, I've got enough confidence that I know if I put in the work in this area, that I know that I can improve it. So those are the three kind of critical pieces. And the first one, it kind of, some of it is humility, and then the other piece is just being practical. So I wrote about this idea in my first book, what my mom says about understanding that you're special. And I wrote about understanding that you're special in a sense that you're able to create your own kind of destiny for your life and separate yourself from everybody else. So meaning, just because you might come from a certain place, then that doesn't mean that you have to get the results whatever the results are typically from where you're from, right? This idea that you're special is rooted in this idea of giving yourself space to be different, or giving yourself space to get different results from everybody else. Being special does not, I repeat, it does not mean that you aren't going to have to do or implement the personal development that people that get great results implement in their life. So what do I mean by that? I mean that you are going to have to work just as hard as everyone else. So many times when you think, oh, I'm special, some people get sidetracked and say, oh, well, I ain't got to work that hard because I'm special, or I'm smart, or I'm, exceptionally gifted. So things are going to, it's not going to be that hard for me, or I'm going to put my product out and my product's going to blow up. And that is when the concept of I'm special can deceive you. Okay, so it can deceive you into thinking that you aren't susceptible to the same hardships that everyone else is. And so you want to understand that you're special to give yourself room to get different results than everybody else, but also understand that you're not special when it comes to the work ethic and what it's going to take to make things happen. So you got to be able to identify. You have to be able to identify where you need to grow. You got to be able to identify that. And then number two is you've got to be able to incorporate it into your life this commitment to working in those areas. So many times the areas where we need growth, it causes us a lot of pain. It's sore subjects, it's tough subjects. You get to bring up something that you're not good at. It's something that people don't do typically, willingly, right? It's something that you kind of grudgingly go into. But here is the personal development piece, is that the people that end up becoming more than they are currently, or get extraordinary results, those are the people that are committed to improving in the areas that they know they have weaknesses in. So there's some humility to that, and there's a commitment to improvement. So I would argue that anybody that has gotten to a level of greatness has failed a bunch. So classic example is Babe Ruth. He hit a ton of home runs, but he struck out just as much, right? So you have to understand that in the trying, there's going to be a ton of failure, but it's in the commitment to improving in those areas, the commitment to getting up and trying again, that you end up getting the improvement that you seek. And then the last piece is the confidence piece. The last piece is I have what it takes. I have the wherewithal to improve. I have confidence in my efforts, that my efforts are going to get me the result that I want. So that piece is the confidence. That piece is the self-efficacy. That piece is the piece where I do believe that if I put in the work, I'm going to get the result, right? So identify where you got your weaknesses. Number two, grow to a point where you want to work in those areas. And then the last piece is, once you have identified those areas and you are willing to do the work, you have to believe that your efforts are going to be enough for you to grow and overcome that weakness, or for you to grow and become better in that area where you're trying to grow. Okay, guys, so I hope this was helpful. Subscribe YouTube channel. I'll be dropping these on a consistent basis, just trying to help people grow, trying to get you to the next level. And we'll catch you next time. Later.